All right, why don't we go ahead and get started here? Welcome back. This is our last Lunch and Learn for the year, and we're going to talk, as always, brain health and tolerance for the holidays. All right, so I've got my two screens going here, so don't wig out. For those of you who are not used to the way we do this, I'm going to look over here because I can see the folks over here, and then I can also look back over here to my main screen. So you've got several ways to participate today. We've got our chat, which is, I've got over here to my right that I'll be checking to see what exactly is happening here. So if you got stuff to say, you can certainly enter it into the chat. But also, it's great to open up your mic. Open up your mic and talk. That's fantastic. All right. And of course, we're always going to vote. So we've got ways to put our hands up and things like this. So let's see how much has changed here with Zoom. They are always making things better, which makes things much more difficult. So, okay, well, let's get off to the races here. The holidays. Now, before we get too started in this, I just want to remind everybody, it is the happiest time of the year in which we have legal update. I am knee deep in finishing up the materials. I hope you are ready for 2024 because a lot has happened. Okay. We're going to talk about our FMLA changes, our FMLA employees. How do we count them now with remote work? When can an employee literally cuss you out and there's nothing you can do about it? Now that is a really fun one. Okay, so we're going to look at all kinds of things to get you ready. And I can tell you one thing I take a lot of pride in is I'm going to give you all the contracts and policies that you need to comply. It really bothers me when we have all of these associations or whatever that give you legal update, but then don't give you the contracts, don't give you the policies. And that's what we're going to do. So take a look at it. This next Thursday is the digital version, and Friday the 15th is going to be our live version. So we'll see how those go. So if you have any questions, give me a call, but I'm real excited. Legal update is a big, big deal. Okay, now let's start off with some basic questions that we really have to think about at the holidays. All right. And I'll tell you, these are not easy questions. Now, let me ask you, and you can put your hand up, you can speak up, you can chat me up. Do you agree that everyone has a right to their own beliefs? What do you think? How many people think you've got a right to your beliefs? All right. Okay. Now here's a fun one because you think about using these questions when you start getting pushback. Let me just ask right now, how many people are already getting some pushback from folks that you might be referring to something as a holiday party? That you are taking Christmas out of this. And what's that mean? It means you're taking Christmas out of it and Jesus is going to get you. You're going to burn in hell. Jesus is mad. Okay, this is a new 21st century Jesus that I'm hearing a lot about that, loves to go and kick butt. Okay. Yeah, good thing we stopped having any type of parties years ago. That's a good one, Phoenix. Yeah, we'll just guess what? We're not going to celebrate anything. We are going to be all vanilla. And think about that for the holidays. How many people love Christmas cookies? Christmas, I tell you right now, yeah, and you're going to see that is one big difference with what the Christians celebrate and a lot of other people. We load up on the sugar. Oh my God, it is sugar high. It's great for the kids. Does anybody know the history of the peppermint stick? Why do we give peppermint sticks at Christmas? Does anybody know? There's a couple of pins in it and a book for you if you do. Anybody know? Because it's real obscure. Okay. Kids don't like sitting through a service on Christmas Eve. They don't like it. What do they want to do? They want to go home represent Jesus. Now I think that's a nice, well, that certainly makes sense, doesn't it? Because maybe that's the red and the white. Valerie, that's good. That's good. But why candy? Why candy? Okay, real simple. Kids like candy. And guess what? Kids won't shut up. They will not shut up. So what do? And they won't sit still. So if you're at Christmas Eve service a few hundred years ago, and the kid will not sit still and will not shut up, stick a great big piece of confined or of refined sugar right in their mouth. They ain't gonna say nothing. They're gonna sit there and suck on that peppermint stick all you want. That is the origin of the peppermint stick. So now we have these little candy canes that we hang and everything. And Valerie, you're probably right. I'd like to read more about that. Why red and white? I don't know why red and white, but it probably does represent Jesus. Absolutely. But those are our traditions. Sugar up the kids and then send them home. That's what we do. Okay. And I love that. Okay. So that's just what we do if you're Christian. Now, do you agree that bigotry is wrong no matter who is doing it? Do you agree? Okay, yeah, I'm getting some hands up. You got this. Yeah, I'm getting some hands up. Okay. And I will tell you right now, there are HR associations who vehemently disagree with that. Okay. Yeah, what Valerie said, white is for purity of Jesus and red is for his blood. Thank you, Phoenix. Hey, very cool. I never knew why the colors were there. I guess if they were blue and white, you'd be Jewish, right? It'd be a Hanukkah stick. Serve the same purpose. Okay, very good. All right, excellent. How many people agree no one should be bullied or discriminated against because they're different? Yeah, I think these are simple, aren't they? No, these are not simple questions. And I've got people within 2 miles of my house who vehemently disagree with that. No, I have a right to my beliefs. And what's that mean? It means you don't have a right to yours. I'll tell you, we've got our challenges cut out for us at a time when the world is becoming more intolerant. Oh. So we've got our challenges. How do you agree no one should be stereotyped? What do you think? No one should be. How about white guys? Because you know as well as I do that all white guys are guilty, right? They're all evil. And I'm not kidding. These are the emails I get. Why are you talking tolerance? You're a white guy. You should kill yourself. And I will tell you, there are chapters here in the United States that would agree with that. Maybe not the kill yourself stuff, but oh yeah, you're evil. You're white. Oh my God, you're evil. You're Muslim. Oh, think what's going on in the world today. Oh, let me ask you. No one should be stereotyped. Everyone should be able to go to work or the mall every day in a safe environment. How many people agree with that? Have you seen what's happening in our world right now to people who are Jewish? Are you seeing this? Oh my gosh, it is on fire. But I'll tell you, I can't change the world. I wish I could. Very sad. Oh, I will tell you, this has been a very busy, good year for me, and it has been the worst. I will tell you, if you really want to screw your life up, be a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant straight male and believe in these things. Your life will be hell. It will be hell. Okay, so we can't change the world. And I will tell you right now, I got a lot of problems with the different types of diversity training we got going on in this country. And you know something? So does SHRM. So does SHRM. SHRM's very clear. What does SHRM say? Let me ask you a question. When you do your diversity training, and of course we're focusing on the holidays, which we got a lot of diversity. Okay, who's the bad guy? Who's the bad guy? Are Wiccans the bad guys? Yes, Wiccans. Pagans. Are you a good witch or are you a bad witch? Hmm? Are Muslims the bad guys? Or what? Does anybody have a suggestion? Who's the bad guy? Who's the villain? You know what Sherm says? Nobody. Nobody. Stop attacking people. Stop it. Stop doing that. The holidays. What a wonderful, wonderful time to start to learn about other people. Now, let's open this up. And I hope you pick up on the sarcasm here. No. 15, 16, 17 liters of vodka does not make a holiday party good. No, this is not advice. How could celebrating many holidays be good this time of year? How could that be good? Does anybody have an idea? We got a lot of, I'm going to show you some of these, some you've heard of, maybe some I haven't heard of that I had found in my research. Broadens your mind. Thank you, Phoenix. Broadens your mind. Absolutely. Do we really want to do that? Do we really want to see what other people are doing? Or really, let me ask you, are we so narcissistic today that everybody has to celebrate what we celebrate? I hope not. And I will tell you right now, this is bad. Okay, the best of multiple cultures enriches many people. Perfect, wonderful, wonderful. And again, this is stuff that you can put into your organization this year. And it's not a coincidence that we're doing this on December 1st, okay? Because there's so much going on in the holidays. What a wonderful time to learn. But I will tell you right now, this will be a litmus test for how tolerant you are. I'm going to talk about tolerance. I'm going to talk about acceptance. We're going to talk about your brain. But I will tell you right now, I'm talking tolerance. Okay? I am not going to pick on someone because they're different. Now, how could celebrating all these different holidays be bad? Oh, Scott's giving me a great comment here. A lot of diversity training divides people rather than uniting them. Yes. Yes. And I will tell you, I just got back from Sherm's National Diversity Conference. The one that I did back in 2012 disgusted me so much because I was told that I was guilty because I'm white. I was told that illegal quotas were okay, and I didn't go back. Sherm has changed. And Scott, you and I have talked about this on the phone an awful lot. Sherm has changed. Johnny Taylor, I think, is the absolute best president, CEO that Sherm's ever had. He can't say that, but I can. Okay. Why? Because he says, no, this is what we do. This is what we do. Can we celebrate many holidays? I'll tell you, how many people have already starting to get pushback? Well, actually, we got a great comment here earlier. How many people you cancel everything for the holidays? There is no holiday party. There is no Yule log. There is no menorah. There is no, I'm not going to go down to the way the Romans celebrated this kind of stuff. But that was pretty bad. Lori, we've never had them. Okay, okay. So I understand because I will tell you, won't someone do this? And again, these two people, they're not right. And if you've not seen Napoleon Dynamite, this is perfect. This is absolute. What we do is stupid. And Scott, I agree with you 100%. We have absolutely got to change the way that we teach diversity in this country because it's wrong. And I'll tell you, I am a huge victim of this stuff all over. Why? God help you again if you're a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant straight male. God, oh, how about this? God help you if you are a Buddhist, a Hindu. Oh my gosh, okay. No, we have intolerant people. And where are they getting this? They're getting this from the world. There is a great book out there Woke Racism by John McWhorter. Fantastic. And you got to listen to that. And you got to listen to Johnny Taylor's book, Reset. This is the way to go. And if you don't change the way that we are doing our diversity, we stop blaming people. We stop attacking white males. We stop telling white males that they're racist. We stop telling Jews that they're responsible for all the wars in the world. We stop doing all of it. If we do not do this, you will see revolution in this country. Does anybody know that the number of hate groups in the United States has almost tripled since the 1900s? More than double. We now today, right now, have more hate groups in the United States than ever before that we've been tracking it, ever. And Ohio, okay, my California folks who are here, good morning for breakfast. All right, it's 9 o'clock out there. Okay. California, you win. You have more hate groups in this country than any other state in the union. Hey, that is not a race you want to win. Number 2 is Florida. Florida is moving up. They used to be 3, now they're 2. Apparently, a lot of older people have nothing else to do but sit around and just hate all kinds of people. Okay. Oh, Scott, what a brilliant note right here. The internet makes it easier to find hate groups. Yes, it does. Why do you think I get all the hate mail? And honestly, I am preaching brain health, tolerance, that no one should ever be discriminated against. No one should ever be vilified because who they are. Let's go back to Martin Luther King. Let's judge somebody based on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. How's that read today? Don't judge people on the color of their skin, the content of their character, unless they're white. Okay, then you can hate them all you want. That's okay. Okay. Phoenix is giving me another good one here. Just a side note, several years ago, we were told we could decorate our office doors for the holidays, but then some people were worried about that no one could decorate their doors. Oh, legal update. Phoenix, thank you. Legal update. Legal update. Okay, guess what? We just got the new religious accommodation decision from the United States Supreme Court. You folks out there, how many of you are HR people out there? Yeah, okay. Get ready. Get ready. Look at all the hands we got. I love it. Get ready. Religious accommodations are going to flood in. The law has changed drastically on that. And guess what, Phoenix? Guess what? What is the emerging legal issue coming up? I'm an atheist. Let's just say I'm not really an atheist, because don't send me hate mail for that, okay? Does everybody know that atheism is the fastest growing religion in the world? Number one. Number one. Yes, Phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix and I talk a lot. And actually, I love that. When you call, we talk. I love to talk about this stuff because this is how I live. This is my life. This isn't just, what I do. Okay, I do this because I believe in it. And I will tell you, the end of our civilization is coming if we don't get a handle on it. Okay. Yeah, religion. Thank you, Scott, who teaches this stuff at University of Findlay. Here's an expert. Okay. And I tell you got to talk to Scott sometime. Spend a year in India. Hey, Scott, India. That's pretty close to like living in Ohio, right? Right. How many hamburgers do you get in India?
Well, it wasn't a year. I've been there 3 different times, though. Okay. And I do not recommend ordering anything that is supposed to be like steak or hamburger.
Yeah.
It's roadkill. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's honest to God, there aren't many McDonald's in India, are there?
Well, actually there are.
Okay.
I had the Big Mac, Maharishi Big Mac burger with chicken patty.
The Maharishi Big Mac. Okay. Yeah, Darlene can't eat her lunch now. I'm sorry, Darlene. Okay. Yeah, go get a salad, right? I will tell, are there atheists? Scott, what a great insight here. Are there atheists in India?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, yeah. They only got 1 billion people. That's all they got. Just like China's got a
More than
billion.
that.
Or oh, they're up over 1 billion now,
Oh
huh?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Making more Indians. Okay.
Hmm.
And don't send me hate mail. They really are Indians. Okay, that's really what they are. I'm not talking about Native Americans. I'm talking about real Indians. So very different culture, isn't it, Scott?
It is. I've been to uh, the the church where St. Thomas was reputedly uh, killed.
Yeah.
He was on a mission in Chennai. Also been to many Hindu temples, which interestingly, a lot of them are ISO certified.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
ISO for the
yeah,
temple.
they take their ISO certifications very seriously.
Very cool. Very interesting. Okay. I mean, I will tell you, and you've probably seen them celebrate their holidays over there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, different ways of doing it, but are they serious about their religions?
Well, one good thing about being religious in India, Hinduism believes that there are many ways to God.
Yeah.
So Hindus are okay with Muslims or those who practice Islam. They're
Mhm.
okay with Christians. They're
Yeah.
okay with people who don't practice, and they celebrate all the holidays.
Wow. How can you beat
And
that?
if you're in northern India, you've got Sikh.
Sikhs. We have Sikhs. We have Sikh temples right here in Columbus. So you see how the world is becoming so eclectic. Okay. And this is what we do here in America. Now, not everybody. I will tell you, the vast majority of people out there, they will not hit you in the head because you're Buddhist. They will not hit you in the head because you're an atheist. They're just, whatever. But I will tell you this, what you see right there. And I do my research. I will never tell you anything that I have not researched. Otherwise, I'm just going on gas. Okay. The number one fastest growing religion in the world is atheism. There's nothing else close, fastest growing. And it's because so many folks are rejecting this hate. They're rejecting it. Christianity is not about hate. Islam is not about hate. Sikhism is not about hate, and on and on and on. But we turn it into that. So let's look at what we got here. We already asked this question. You got a right to your beliefs, don't you? We all do. But you know what that means? Somebody else has a right to their beliefs. This is what tolerance is. And again, where do we get this? We get this from NASA. Okay. I'm not going to bully you because you're different. Get this. December is the perfect time to reinforce and get tolerance into your organization. This is the perfect time to do that. Oh, can you decorate your door? Yeah. Do you want to decorate your door? If you want to decorate, I'll tell you right now, I'm finding a lot of humor in it. Actually, it's kind of funny. We sent my sons to Catholic school. We're not Catholic, but we sent them to Catholic school because the Catholic schools are absolutely excellent for saving lives. They really are. No bullying. And I will tell you, our Catholic schools here in Columbus are top notch. All of them. All of them. There's no such thing as a bad education from a Catholic school here in Columbus, Ohio. And I can speak to them directly. No bullying. Okay. But we're getting more and more and more kids out of these programs, like my sons, who have turned atheist. Yes, the religious education was so effective that it turned both of my boys atheist. Now, we've worked back a little bit to where they're not atheists, atheists who say there is no God. We've worked back to agnostic. And what's an agnostic? Someone says, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. An agnostic is really an atheist without the attitude. Okay? All right, so we'll work on Christianity a little later. Well, one step at a time. Okay, now you use this. And here's how you do this with your people. Dude, everybody get your cell phones or get your computer and just Google and have your people. Everybody's always got your cell phone with you. I mean, it's like leaving your house without your kidneys. You've got your cell phone. You got to have your cell phone. You can't live without a cell phone, right? Now, we won't go through the time with this, but when you get a chance, Google it. And insomnia is what got me to check on this. It doesn't matter where you go. This is basically the definition for what is a bigot. Now, we all think racism, don't we? Well, that's a big part of being a bigot. Well, what's a bigot? I don't care where you go. You've always got something like this. Whenever someone is not tolerant of views, beliefs, or behavior that differ from their own. Well, that's Republicans and Democrats, isn't it? Right? That's gun control, not gun control. That is, hot stuff. Okay. I just can't get away from legal update. How many people are ready next week, December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day, that you've got it all lined up with your grocery shopping cart and everything to go get your recreational pot? Are we all ready? Recreational pot has come to Ohio. Oh boy, can't wait. And I'm from Newark, Ohio. Got a few Newarkites here. Okay, Newark, Ohio. We have more dispensaries in Newark, Ohio per capita than any place else in the state. Yeah, I know. Well, the industry left, so guess what? The pot moved in. Okay, so Newark is flourishing. Okay, we got a market there. Oh yeah, you honest to God, and these are nice too. I mean, they're a lot nicer than the Krogers and Giant Eagles too. They're cleaner and everything, and they'll get you all set up. Okay, is that a hot topic? Pro-recreational pot, anti-recreational pot. Okay, in that hot topic. Okay, so guess what? I can smack you in the head when no. Very basic. Is anybody confused here? I'm not going to vilify. Nobody's the bad guy. Quote, unquote, Johnny Taylor, CEO of SHRM. No one's the bad guy. Because let's go back to the Bozo the Clown. Remember the Bozo the Clown punching bag I showed you? I've shown you several times. Oh, I'm just going to pick on somebody. Let's pick on Jews, because everybody seems to be hating Jews these days, which is absolutely horrendous to me. I have relatives, I'm not Jewish, but I have relatives in the Mideast right now in Israel who are being called up into the military to go into Gaza. Okay. Oh, okay. So Jews are responsible for this. You fear the hate? Now I punch a Jew figuratively in the face, just like Bozo the Clown. Okay, tell me, educate me. What's going to happen to me? What is that Jew that I just punched in the face going to do? What's he going to do? Punch me right back. So what do we do as humans? How dumb are we as humans? What do? I hit him, he hits me back. So what am I going to do? Help me out. What am I going to do? Hit him harder. Remember we did a session, or I posted a session on competitive victimization. I do this to you, then how dare you treat me the way I treat you? You hit me back. And then I get you an up and up and up and up and up. Is that what you want for your workplace? No. And I will tell you right now, if you sit there and you hate that Republican because that Republican disagrees with you, you're a bigot. You hate that Democrat or independent, or God help us, a Bernie Sanders socialist. Ooh, socialists. They'll be the end of the world. Used to be communists, but I think we got rid of all of them. Now it's the socialists. You're allowed. You see, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. Okay, I love this. I'm a big Martin Luther King fan. I truly am. Okay. Look, people don't get along because they fear each other. They're afraid. They fear each other because they don't know each other. And they don't know each other because they have not communicated with each other. Neurologically, he is right on the money. He could not be more right. That is acceptance. Okay, so let's look and see what opportunities we're missing every year in December. Okay, so they make assumptions about each other. Thank you, Scott. Absolutely. And when I make assumptions about, here's a guy, I don't know him. He's black. So what's that mean? Okay, now please excuse me because I'm going to be tremendously offensive. Okay, so what are the stereotypes? He must be good in basketball. I bet he is. I bet he can play basketball. I'm going to pick him first. I bet he's lazy. He has an entitlement mentality. Jews, they're cheap. They like war. Women. Oh, let me pick on the women here. I just can't wait to pick on. You know, we really got to make sure y'all have calculators real close because your brain just doesn't handle math. Okay, how many people that bothers you? That should, you know, I, as a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant straight male, if I don't stand up for you, who's going to stand up for me? Oh, who am I hearing out there? Please jump in. You're more than welcome. Or is that just an open mic night? Okay, okay. But so how do we build acceptance? Let me clear this up. You demand tolerance. I'm not asking. I'm not like Scott Friedhafer's comment here. We make assumptions about everybody else. Those are stereotypes. And I got a great button. How many people have my button? I'm not a stereotype with the stereotypical white guy on it. You got those out there? I've been passing those. I order those literally by the hundreds now. And I'll tell you, I give them away like water. Why? Because I'm not a stereotype. You really should get to know me before you say that I'm a racist. Before you say this, before you say that. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, I'm going to be doing some sessions last year. I posed them to a couple of the conferences and everything. How do I know? How do I know how hate groups react when you attack them? How do I know that? How do I know that the programming that I've talked to a lot of you about, our diversity programming, is doing a fantastic job growing hate groups? I'll tell you, I can tell you half a dozen conferences that I have been to. Okay. And let me just reiterate this. The new SHRM is not doing this. The new SHRM is not blaming white people. It's not blaming these people. It's not blaming those people. Because when you do that, how do you think the people who belong to hate groups or are about to join a hate group, how do they react? Isn't that ammunition? That's ammunition. Okay, I'm going to do a program this year called Erasing Hate. Erasing Hate. The lessons I learned from my Klansman grandfather. Okay, so when I talk about hate groups and I talk about hate, my grandfather was a Klansman. At one point, half of city council in Newark, Ohio was Klan. You do realize you live in Ohio. Oh, I don't think I finished. You know, we got a lot of haters in Florida. They're number 2. Texas is number 3. Number 4 is actually Pennsylvania. Number 5 is Ohio. You do realize that I do a lot of training on site. And a lot of you, I'm going to see you in 2024. We booked dates for all kinds of different types of trainings that we're going to do, harassment or whatever. And guess what? I walk in and what do I see? I see 88. 88. I see all these symbols. You know what that means? You got Nazis. You got Klan. You got transphobics working for you. Homophobics working for you. I'm sitting in Columbus, Ohio right now, very liberal city, but I am within 10 miles of about a dozen hate groups for anybody that you want. You hate somebody over here? I got somebody for you. You do realize these people have jobs, right? You do realize they have jobs. They work somewhere. And guess what? I'll get a call to go in that they've got some haters, and this is the training for them. So what's tolerance? I'm not going to pick on you because you're different. That's it. Everybody got that one? You believe what you want to believe. I will never tell you what to believe. You work next to a Satanist? I will never tell you to be accepting of their beliefs, but what will I tell you? You're not going to pick on them. They have a right to be a Satanist. Oh, here's a good one. How many people are waiting in 2024 when you have a Satanist, someone that comes up and they want a religious accommodation? It's coming. Satanism's a religion. Okay, so you see, that's tolerance. Okay, and I will tell you right now, when you go out there and you say we hate these people, or these people are guilty, or these people are racist, or those people, that is all those hate groups need to recruit. That's all they need. That's all they need. And yes, unfortunately, I know what I'm talking about. So let's talk about acceptance. And let's talk about December. Now we're in the holidays. How do you build acceptance? Now, really put your antennas up here. Everything we do is neurological. You know that, right? You know that, right? Everything is your brain, everything. So what is becoming accepting? You rewire your brain. Now, let me show you what's happening in your brain. And this is what we can do with the holidays. Okay, first of all, you're going to be tolerant. And what's that mean? You're not going to smack somebody. You're not going to say anything. You do realize from our courses this year, there's no difference between attacking you verbally and smacking you in the face. It has the same effect on your body and brain. Your body just knows you've been attacked. It doesn't recognize the difference between a punch in the face and a punch in the self-esteem. And I've just told you why suicides are now the second leading cause of death for kids under the age of 30. I just told you why 10 times more white straight males are killing themselves than any other group. Okay, so let's build acceptance. How do we do this? You see that thought right there? That's a human thought. These are two ends of neurons. And you see that little yellow goo? Well, that goo is neurotransmitter. And it just shoots back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Your brain feels like soft room temperature water. That's what it feels like. And you see the white electric charge? That's a human thought. Now, actually, you're seeing two human thoughts here because there's two ends of neurons. That's what you're saying. Okay. So if I put an electric charge into soft room temperature butter, it's going to melt, isn't it? So let me show you how we rewire our brains. And I'm going back to our subconscious. Okay, now freeze right there. How far back does your subconscious memory go? Oh, this is really freaky out. I love talking about the subconscious because this is what is so critical. That's where it all starts, your subconscious. Anybody here, have you ever slept in the fetal or semi-fetal position? You know, where your knees are up or something. Yeah, yeah. Okay, here's a great question you ask your people. Where'd you get that idea? Kind of creepy, isn't it? Yeah. From the womb. You have subconscious memories from -2 or 3 or 4 months. Yeah. Your brain is working. And you know that babies culturally bind their brains to their culture, the people around them, by the age of 9 months old. 9 months. Now, you kind of see where hate comes from? Kind of see where bigotry comes from? Okay. Now, see that thought on the far left? That's a human thought. It's firing and firing and firing and firing and firing. And you grow about 100,000 new neurons every month. So that's firing and firing and firing. Look at the middle graphic. You see how it's flattening out? It's melting. It's melting. Learning melts your brain. Yes, and that's a good thing. As you're listening to me right now, your brain is firing and it's melting. But look how much more efficient it is. See how those two surfaces are so efficient? Look how they're flattening out. And you're overloading and overloading that circuit. So you see the little sprout coming out? That's called synaptogenesis. Don't say that. You sound kind of pompous when you sound that. So that's just a new little sprout. Okay. Now look at the one on the far end. See how you rewire your brain? You see how you learn? Look how flat and efficient the first neuron is. Now you've got a whole new sprout. You can grow 1,000,000 new connections in your brain every month. Okay. You've been doing this for years. This is why you drive to work every day and you don't have a clue how you got there. You just go on automatic because you've done it, and you've done it, you've done it, you've done it, you've done it. This is also why sometimes we start to pull out of our driveway and start to drive into work because we're wired for that. Got a comment here from Scott. So what do you think about and think about and think about matters? Okay. You mean when you keep thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking? Is that what you're referring to? Keep mulling something over and over and over and over and over again?
Well, if you keep thinking about something, you're growing those neurons in a way that reinforces your positive or negative thoughts.
Absolutely. That is exactly why meditation works. I'm showing you why meditation works. Absolutely. You got to be really careful about you got to really think about what you subject your brain to. It's actually called social epigenetics. Just say, there's an author out there, Debbie Hampton, wonderful author, wonderful books. She calls it the Play-Doh in your brain. I think that is accurate. The Play-Doh in your brain. Your brain will mold itself to the people you hang around, to the environment you subject it to. Sheila, thank you so much. What you think about, you bring about. Yes. Yes. You rewire your brain. So, okay, so let's use this as an example. Sheila, Scott, absolutely. So everybody is going to get transferred to a new location 5 miles to the east. Bummer. You're actually going to have to think about it. So guess what? The first day in, you might have to use your GPS. See that little red dot? That's a thought. That's a thought. But the next day, what do? Boom. You've wired it a little bit more, and then boom the next day, and boom the next day, and boom the next day, and boom the next day. And guess what? After a couple of weeks, you've built a habit. What does that mean? That is now part of your brain. Now, you see me? You demand tolerance. I'll tell you right now, if I ever had somebody that was going around and saying neural pathways, thank you, Sheila, absolutely. You are building brand new neural pathways. You've been doing it for years. You just might not have known what you were doing. This is why you demand tolerance. I demand it. I'll tell you right now, if I ever had somebody that told me that all white men were guilty, or that Jews are cheap, or that women are whatever, man, we'd be having a talk. And I'd be telling you, ever say that again, you're out of here. And if they did, man, I'd fire you. I'd fire you. Because you are starting to warp my environment. Oh, all can be tricky. Yeah. Sheila's saying starting any statement with all can be tricky. Yeah. And I'll tell you, that's a great test tip. I learned this years ago. If you ever have a test and it says all, it's false. All, it's false. It's false. Actually, everywhere you go on the earth, gravity isn't the same. So yeah, Sheila, that'll get you at least 4 or 5 points on any test, because someone always puts, they do, someone always puts always or all. Always, when you say always, you're always wrong. And here's my other favorite phrase: I am going to be so intolerant of your intolerance. Oh no, I am going to be very tolerant of who you are and your opinions. But when you are intolerant against somebody else, you've never seen intolerance. You've never seen the hammer come down on you. The problem is we have a lot of DE&I and HR groups who do not agree with that. And quite frankly, if your HR group is not teaching this, make them. Make them. Otherwise, they're doing more harm than good. Now, let's see what we can do at the holidays here. Now, everybody's got tolerance. And how do you actually become accepting? You get to know people, like Martin Luther King said. You get to know who they are. And what are you going to do? You're going to rewire your subconscious brain. That is how you do it. We call it exposure therapy. And what is it? Neural pathways. That's what Sheila's throwing out, and that's absolutely right. Okay, so everybody knows that we celebrate Christmas at the holidays. I mean, everybody knows that. I mean, it's the predominant religion that's out there. Okay. Does anybody know any other types of holidays that are celebrated, whether religious or secular? Does anybody know other types of holidays that people in the United States celebrate? Few come to mind right away, right? Hanukkah, thank you. Sheila, I can count on you because that is a nice segue right into our, yeah, and Kwanzaa. Oh, let me ask you here because I've heard so many terrible things about Kwanzaa. Diwali. Oh, I'd have to learn about that one, Scott. Thank you. Kwanzaa. Sheila, is Kwanzaa about how evil white people are and how black people hate them? Is that what that's about, Kwanzaa? Because I've actually heard that. That's really a softball question. Yeah, I know, Sheila. That is, well, that is what we call stupid. That is stupid. Only a stupid person would say that. That's ridiculous. So, yeah. St. Lucia, combo of paganism and Christianity. Absolutely. You see, and I'm just giving you a few of them here. What is Hanukkah? Okay, I have a lot of Jews in my family. Obviously, I've already told you that. Okay, actually, my wife is half Hebrew. She's not Jewish anymore, but her family snuck out in the middle of the Russian Revolution. You know, if you're Jewish, it's not good to hang around when the Bolsheviks show up. So it's an 8-day celebration, the Festival of Lights. And what is it? Well, this was commemorating the 8 days that the Jewish people, the Jewish army, were fighting the Greek and Syrian army. Okay, years ago. Okay, and miraculously, the oil was only supposed to last for a day to keep the candles lit, and they lasted for 8 days. Okay, wow. Okay, that's why you have the menorah. Very cool. And they have things to eat: potato pancakes, jam-filled donuts, brisket. Okay, has anybody ever had brisket? Brisket's really good. Okay, so I'll tell you right now, if yeah, they got some briskets out there. Yeah, I can tell you right now, hey, I love it when we got some Jews in the office because maybe they'll bring a brisket. And I tell you, who in the heck doesn't like jam-filled donuts? Okay, so right now, this is probably the most persecuted group of people in America. This is out of control. Okay, amazing. Bodhi Day. Buddhist. Okay, especially in Texas. Oh, yeah, Sheila. Yeah, good food. Absolutely. Okay, now, this is a Buddhist tradition, and it honors the day Siddhartha was supposed to have reached his enlightenment. So what do they do to celebrate? Well, very different from us. They meditate. Okay, what's that mean? It means they're not going to cause any trouble. Okay, that means they're not going to be disruptive. They meditate. Okay, now think about this. Does anybody have anyone working for you that might be Buddhist? Wouldn't this be a great time for people to learn about what a Buddhist is? And just back to what Scott was saying, if I don't know what somebody is, I'm just going to fill it. I'm going to reach into my MSU bag, make stuff up. I'm just going to make stuff up. And those are the stereotypes that are all coming out. No, we're not going to do that. Okay. What a wonderful thing. And yeah, if you're lucky enough to have someone there who's Buddhist, great. Yule. Yeah, Yule. Now, the Wiccans and neo-pagans. Okay, there they are. And I like this picture here because it looks like they're sacrificing a baby, which they're not. Okay, just to let you know. Okay. Oh, the pagans. Absolutely. Okay. And I love this because the Yule log has actually worked its way into Christmas, which I find hilarious because you do realize that's pagan. You got a Yule log? Sure do. It's right next to the Christmas tree. Okay, well, we're going to do a little bit of everything here. If you just put a menorah up there, you're going to have a lot more things covered here. That's okay. That's okay. Okay. They celebrate the winter solstice. Okay, well, it's December 21st, so it's coming up. It's the longest day of the year, and we're going to start getting our light back. So guess what? The very next day, the days start getting shorter. And I want you to all recognize that old time religion, Stonehenge. Yeah, Stonehenge is not for Christians. Okay, I've heard that. No, no, that's a little different. Okay, and that's okay. Kwanzaa. Now I had to, really make sure I talk about Kwanzaa. Okay, Kwanzaa actually has a very interesting history. It's not a religious holiday; it's a cultural holiday, and it honors African American heritage. Wonderful. How did we get it? All right, now this is really going to date me. Does anyone here remember the Watts riots? Probably not too many out there. It was 1966. I'm getting some hands, okay? Some gifted older folks, okay? Horrible. Oh my God. 34 people died, okay? It was a big brouhaha. National Guard was called out. Deaths, over 1,000 industry injuries. And so Maulana Karenga, I hope I don't butcher his name too much, started Kwanzaa back in 1966 to just sort of bring pride to the African American community. Now freeze right there. Doesn't that kind of sound like St. Patrick's Day? Isn't that what the Irish do? Absolutely. And I want you to picture this wonderful group. I mean, look at these people. Okay. They've got fruits, they've got natural. Oh, well, first of all, I'm not seeing a lot of sugars in there. So maybe we could take a hint from Kwanzaa a little bit, maybe cut down on the cookies and pies. I don't really want to cut down on the cookies and pies. This is a wonderful thing. And it starts December 26th, runs to January 1st. If you don't know what it's about, then you make stuff up. Okay. And these are the 7 key principles for Kwanzaa. Let's see if these aren't good for everybody. Unity, self-determination, collective responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. Okay. All right. So it basically draws on African musical storytellings and wonderful foods. Okay. Wouldn't this be a good thing if you did have somebody who celebrated Kwanzaa? Wouldn't this be a good thing to introduce so that, first of all, you're going to be tolerant. You're not going to pick on them. Second, as you get to know more and more about Kwanzaa and the people who celebrate Kwanzaa, aren't these stereotypes going to go away? You're going to start to build acceptance. You're starting to see here, you can never demand acceptance. Acceptance is a rewiring of the brain. And here's a good one. I just ran across this. Okay. Zarcho Nodiso. Okay. This is one of the oldest monolithic religions. And this is honoring the death of their prophet, Zoroaster. Okay. Has anybody heard of this one before? Heard of this? I ran across it because I've got some folks in one of my clients that celebrate it. They're Iranian. Actually comes from the Mideast, Iranian, and everything. Wonderful. No, most people have never even heard of this. It's actually something people still celebrate today. Okay? Nothing about hate or anything like this. And most people have heard the Feast of Our Lady Guadalupe. Okay. The Virgin, you can't sling a dead cat in Mexico without hitting a picture or something to the Virgin Mary. Very, very. And basically, it's a Mexican and Mexican American Pride Day. Okay, Pride Day. Okay, so it's wonderful. And I'll tell you, wouldn't this be another thing for us to learn about? Now, make sense? Okay, now, let me just clue you in here. Building acceptance is a neurological function. And yes, even Nazis can rewire. Even Nazis can rewire. Now, this is a great guy. I've got a video on him on my website, Frank Mink. Has anybody ever seen the movie American History X? They seen that? You got some hands here. Yep. Okay. This is about Frank Mink. Okay. Now, he was a hardcore neo-Nazi, just like we've got all across this country. See the tats? Okay. So, so Frank was in jail. No, he wasn't in jail. He was in prison for aggravated kidnapping. He got out when he was 21 years old. And understand why he became a Nazi. He was constantly getting picked on and beat up because he was white. That sound familiar? Let me tell you right now, when he tells these stories, he'd go out marching with his Nazi friends, and there would be people yelling at him, throwing snowballs at him, all that did was solidify the group, just like hitting bozo in the face. We call that boomerang bigotry. It's also called competitive victimization. You hit me, I hit you back. Okay, you throw that boomerang at me, I'm going to throw it back. Okay, then he gets out of prison. Now, freeze right there. Who's going to hire this guy? He's got a Nazi tattoo on his neck. That is not the best thing for a job interview. Okay, who's going to hire this guy? Well, he gets a job offer from this guy, Tony. All right, Tony. Tony is Jewish. Oh, yeah, Scott. Oh, everybody got to look at the chat. And the Nazis accepted him and gave him a place in their group. All humans want to be accepted. I'll tell you one thing. You attack a human, they will come back at you harder. See how stupid some of our diversity programming is? You are literally handing the hate groups everything they need to the point that we've got more hate groups, more people belonging to hate groups than ever before in our history. And if you don't believe me, just go to splcenter.org, southernpovertylawcenter.org. They track this stuff. Okay, now, Tony the Jew gives him a job. And Frank is like, oh, I just don't want to talk to him. I'll work for him. But Tony's going to pay him $100 a day to refurbish antique furniture, refurbish it. And Frank's good at this. He's good with his hands. And the first week, he's working there for Tony, and Tony comes up to him and says, okay, hey, how much do I owe you? And Frank is absolutely convinced Tony's going to, quote, Jew him over, because everybody knows that's what Jews do. Feel the stereotype? He's going to screw me over. So Frank says, hey, it's here 4 days, $400. You owe me $400. Frank is convinced Tony is going to screw him over. And now you see how his brain is wired? That's what Jews do, according to Frank. And Tony whips out this big wad of cash and counts out the money. He goes, okay. He goes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whips out 4 $100 bills, hands them to Frank, and says, hey, hold on. Pulls off another $100 bill, hands it to Frank, and says, you did good work. I want you to come back on Monday. You're good. Now think about this. No one would give Frank a job. Tony didn't screw him over, gave him another 100. You see how this doesn't fit? Well, over the next several months, Frank keeps working there and keeps working there. Tony had one rule: don't break my furniture. That's the biggest thing. Don't break it. And Frank was working one day, and he did something in a rush, did something stupid, and he broke a piece of furniture. And Frank goes to Tony. Frank is absolutely convinced. Tony's going to fire me. He's going to fire me. And Frank comes up. He says, hey, I did something stupid. I broke this chair. I'm really sorry. You know, I just screwed up. Tony just looked at him, pulled out his money for the week, handed him the money, told Frank, hey, we'll see you on Monday. Tony didn't take it out of his pay. Told him he could come back. Tony had every reason in the world to fire Frank, and he didn't do it. This is nothing compared, like what Frank thought. Tony was nothing like all the evil Jews that he'd always heard about. Tony was treating Frank like a person, like a human. Frank went home that night. This over several months that he's gotten to know Tony, took off his Nazi boots, threw him down his mom's steps, never put them on again. Never, he quit being a Nazi. He left the neo-Nazis. Today, Frank Mink is one of the top tolerance presenters in this country. Now, freeze right there. If a hardcore Nazi can rewire themselves, can't that person from accounting who doesn't like Muslims? I'll tell you right now, this is the way to do it. This is the way we unite people. We expose them. First of all, I demand tolerance, but we're going to expose you to people and you will work with them. And it is amazing how effective the human brain is at building acceptance. And I'll tell you, in my program I put together, you know, lessons I learned from my Klansman grandfather, I am absolutely convinced that if he was alive today, I could rewire him. I could rewire him. Absolutely, because that's what human brains do. Make sense? I'll tell you, take this opportunity. If you've ever watched, Sheila, if you've ever watched Ted Lasso, there's a beautiful lesson on rewiring acceptance and tolerance. Sheila, you are after my own heart here. I love Ted Lasso. And Ted Lasso actually has made the alleged Walt Whitman quote famous. Be curious, not judgmental. Be curious, okay? Walt Whitman didn't really say that, okay? It's attributed to him, but he would like that. Walt Whitman probably wish he'd said it, but I'll tell you, I love Walt Whitman. My uncle played Walt Whitman at the Monmouth Theater up in Maine, so I've studied Walt Whitman, and just a wonderful, wonderful person who, by the way, was gay, in case you were wondering, okay? Still doesn't take away from his talent and makes him a phenomenal poet. Okay. But what's it mean to be curious, not judgmental? It means I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to stereotype you. I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask. I'm going to come up to you. I'm going to find out about you. I'm going to find out what you're like. If you're Jewish, I'm going to find out about you. Okay. Great point, Sheila. That was wonderful. Okay. I'm going to send this out to you when I'm going to post the recording for everybody. Have your other folks watch it, because I'll tell you, if you do not start inclusion, and I mean inclusion for everybody, nobody's the villain. I'll tell you right now, I am ostracized by a couple of HR groups, including my own, which is just fine. But I'll tell you right now, you got a group that you sit through, and I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's the state level. I don't care if it's a local level. I don't care what that association is. You get somebody that stands up there and is spreading hate. And what is spreading hate? Jews are like this. Muslims are like this. White guys are like this. And think about it. White guys make up 36% of the population. Do you really want to isolate and alienate 36% of all the Americans that live in this country? Do you really want to do that? Because I'll tell you, when they get mad, they attack the Capitol. Now, those are the crazy ones, but they're out there. Okay? No, you stand up. You stand up and you say, white guys are not the bad guys. Jews are not the bad guys. Women are not like this. Okay? No. And I'll tell you right now, if you see somebody getting picked on because they're transgender, if you're getting somebody picked on because of whatever reason, if you don't stand up for them, who's going to be there for you? There's a fantastic quote, Reverend Martin Niemöller. The Silence of Our Friends. Sheila, oh, you're hitting on all my buttons here. Martin Luther King said, it's not our enemies we got to worry about. It's our friends who don't stand up and say anything. And what's that? It's bystander intervention. It's bystander intervention is a requirement for your training. If you're doing harassment training and you don't have bystander intervention in your training, you're not in compliance. You got to get it in there. Reverend Martin Niemöller said when he got out of the Nazi concentration camps and he was a Lutheran minister, they said, well, you're a Christian. You're a Lutheran minister. Why are you here? He said, why am I here? He said, well, first they came for the trade unionists and I didn't stand up because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the homosexuals and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a homosexual. Then they came for the Jews and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. And they came for me. There's nobody left to speak up for me. Whatever I can do to Sheila, I can do to Scott. I can do to Betty. I can do to Paula. So I'll tell you, this is serious stuff. I want you to make sure that you are putting this in. Oh, Scott's given us a great link to Reverend Martin Niemöller. Yes, famous quotes, and he's absolutely right. And yes, when people are picking on Jews and you don't say anything, you're next. You're next. Everybody with me? Hey, let's use this time of year and start demanding tolerance, but let's start building that acceptance. Make sure people do understand Kwanzaa. Well, and it's sad. You had these riots in which all these people were killed, and this guy comes out with this wonderful idea to build African-American culture. If we can build St. Patrick's Irish culture, we can build up African-American culture. Because the day you don't let somebody celebrate Kwanzaa, the day I can't celebrate St. Patty's Day. Everybody with me? Okay, hey, next year we're going to be starting a whole new series on these things, and it's going to be relating to tolerance, of course, and brain health. And what I will probably be introducing is what we should be doing step by step to clear up all of these misconceptions that our diversity programs have put in place that are actually causing more harm than good. Okay, and what's the number one thing? No one is the bad guy, and we've got to include people. And we're going to follow SHRM's lead. SHRM is setting an absolutely fantastic path for us to follow for our diversity programs. It's just the local chapters aren't necessarily following. Okay, everybody with me? Final questions, comments, deep religious concerns. Okay, hey, everybody take care. Have a safe 2023 holiday season and Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, everything to everybody. And we will see you in 2024. All right?